Another packed house inside historic Rupp Arena as the 18th ranked Kentucky Wildcats at 11-3 play host to the Vanderbilt Commodores, who have struggled out of the gates in SEC play, looking for their first conference win. Dave Neal alongside former Auburn Tiger Damian Fishback. And well, Damian, we had a chance to spend some time around Coach Cal today, and things are a little different around the basketball program these days.
Yeah, you know, we know him for the dribble drive, but look at this execution, even against the zone. A screen by E.J. Montgomery. Now, what that's going to do is make number 11 grab the ball, and so there's an overload, which allows Tyler Hero to get open. Here's another play. It's a staggered screen. Keldon Johnson can go over top, but instead he reads the screen, goes to the backside, which allows him to get where he wants to post up. They were just playing the song, Dave. That's easy like Sunday morning. Coach Cal is putting his guys in position to succeed the best that I've seen him do it.
Well, Tyler Hero coming off 21 points where he hit 3 3-pointers against Texas A&M. Keldon Johnson, the team's leading scorer, second in rebounds, also a big factor, averaging just under 16 points a game. Vanderbilt loses at home in their SEC opener to Ole Miss, then goes on the road in their midweek game, and they lose to Georgia. We'll try to get things worked out here in a very tough environment at Rupp Arena.
Outstanding day of basketball, and I think we've heard it all day. They're learning life without Darius Garland.
Well, a great start for Neesmith, the freshman out of Charleston, South Carolina, as you look at the Kentucky starting five. Looking for consistency out of P.J. Washington, looking for consistency from a team standpoint in terms of effort. Those are things Coach Cal talked to us about today. Little jump hook goes down for Keldon Johnson. Commodores changing things up at their lineup. Neesmith getting into the starting five today, along with Saban Lee, Joe Toy, Simi Sola-Shatu, the outstanding true freshman out of Canada, and Matt Ryan playing the 4 in this lineup. A great shooter, a transfer from Notre Dame, has the basketball now.
Yeah, Coach Drew shifting some things up a little bit, seeing if he can go at some mismatches for Kentucky. There's one right there.
Joe Toy knocking down the 3. Joe, a 34% three-point shooter, his 22nd of the season.
Yeah, Reed Travis just doesn't have the foot speed to stay in front of Joe Toy, and so Toy takes advantage of the three-point shot. Stagnant offense right now for Kentucky, trying to figure out this zone for Vanderbilt. A little confused. A slow start, similar to where they got off to a slow start against Texas A&M here.
Saban Lee, the sophomore point guard out of Phoenix, Arizona. Shatu will get it around to Ryan. Joe Toy. Shot clock at 12, some time here, but Matt Ryan will back it out. Now Saban Lee, who's excellent on the drive. He is fouled on the way to the basket. Bryce Drew, now in his 3rd year at Vanderbilt, looking for his first victory against the Wildcats. 0-4 against Coach Cal as the head coach of the Doors.
Well, comes from an extremely good lineage, right? Coaching family, 3rd all-time. His brother Scott Drew and his father Homer Drew. Incredible basketball mind, and is doing an outstanding job at Vanderbilt in the loss of Darius Garland.
They get a switch. Now Toy working on Travis. Goes baseline. Corner 3 from Ryan. Got it.
Beautiful. So there goes that mismatch again, right? Toy versus Reed. Reed cannot stay in front of Joe Toy. They're going to have to make some adjustments.
A 9-2 start for Vanderbilt on 3 threes. That drive won't go down, and Neesmith grabs the rebound. Ryan, catch and shoot again. Higgins will back it out. Boy, Higgins has had a nice little run here of 3 games. In each of the last 3, he set a new career high in points. Boy, this zone really has tripped up Kentucky.
Yeah, they're baffled, but that's where their bread is buttered. That's where they need to go all night long.
Feed the post. Reed Travis, the graduate.
I almost went Lionel Richie on that one, but I decided not to. Was it a good decision?
Yeah, no, Lionel Richie. Shatu might have got away with an extra little hop in there, but it rolls around and drops in through the cylinder.
Love that. Simi Sola Shatu, 6'10", 240 pounds, but you will not recognize that by the way he moves. He is very light on his feet, very mobile, big man for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and handles the ball very well, too, for a man his size. Hagens too strong. Shatu grabs the rebound.
They've got numbers. I would push here if I'm Vander.
Neesmith strong against Travis, gets it to go, and this has been an excellent start on the road for a Vanderbilt team that has been reeling the last week. They're up 13-4.
It's going to be intriguing to see. They came back against Texas A&M. Vanderbilt Commodores saying you're going to have to do it against us too, Kentucky.
Of their first 6 shots, they lead Kentucky 13-4. Matter of fact, Kentucky trailed 12-2 to Texas A&M in their last game, came back to win that one by 11. Dave Neal alongside Damian Fishback. We talk about the talented freshmen from Kentucky all the time, but over at Vanderbilt, they've got one running the floor right now that's pretty good, and Simi Sola Shatu.
Yeah, they lost Darius Garland to a meniscus injury, and I feel like Simi Sola Shatu is the guy who has to step up, Dave Neal. An outstanding recruiting class, but with Simi Sola Shatu, he does a phenomenal job at using his big body. Look, he can put it on the floor, and this is going against Nicholas Claxton. He's extremely mobile. Look at the jump hook over the left-hand side. Then when you get him out in the open break, this is 6'10", reminds you, 240 behind the back pass to save and leave for the finish. And then when you leave him on an island, you can't leave this big fella. He can post up and get to the rim as well. He has good size, good mobility, needs to continue to improve his shot from the perimeter. But you see, 51%, and then 8.3 rebounds per game, 5th in the SEC. He has to continue to play well for the Commodores to be successful.
McDonald's All-American was the 19th ranked player, according to ESPN, coming out of high school. He and Garland were going to be the dynamic duo, but Garland, knee surgery, out for the rest of the year. See what Kentucky does here. Hagens inside will kick it to the perimeter. Johnson. They'll work the perimeter. Hero. Keldon Johnson back to Hero. Tapped around, and Ryan has it.
Gonna be a long night.
Saban Lee again driving toward the rim, and he is fouled. A couple of free throws coming up.
Dave, you can tell it's like in a boxing match when a guy has his number. So Coach Bryce Drew at practice last night, he said, if Tyler Hero and Keldon Johnson, if those guys beat us, then they're just going to be the ones that beat us. He's going to make Ashton Hagens beat them from the perimeter, and I believe when the ball goes on the post, they're actually going to double out of that zone as well.
Lee connects on the first one. Hey, Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, we'll have the Gators taking on the 14th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs. They'll come to you from the hump in Starkville. Mississippi State looking to snap an 8-game losing streak against Florida. You can catch that one on the ESPN app. Florida, tough loss to Tennessee today at home. Mississippi State at home loses to Ole Miss. Who would have thought the top 3 teams in the conference as we sit here right now, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Ole Miss.
Candidly, Tennessee, Mississippi doesn't surprise me. South Carolina did because of the struggles they had in the non-conference. But why do you question Coach Frank Martin, Final Four coach, something that we all continue to see him improve upon every year? I love that, Dave Neal.
Simi Sola Shatu. This is some kind of start. 16-4. Vanderbilt out in front. And a foul on the way to the basket. You know, there's been a lot of talk, Fish, about Kentucky's inability to defend the three-point shot, and yet they don't shoot it very well. But
right.
Coach Cal will tell you, though, we've got shooters. We've got guys that can make it, but we haven't seen that yet here tonight.
They do have shooters, and one of the shooters that I expect to come in the basketball game at some point in time tonight is Jamal Baker. He's a guy that plays with what I call March Madness maturity. He's very poised and patient. He had a good game against Texas A&M last time. They will figure out, there he is right there in the middle, they will figure out the zone. But while you play zone, is Kentucky's still a very young team. And right now they're not just playing basketball, they're thinking more than they're playing.
There's a takeaway by Hagens, and Kentucky will reset as Vanderbilt stays in the zone. Hagens to the SEC logo, dumps it off. Nick Richards.
SEC logo, that's the key. Get the basketball in the middle of that zone, which allows Kentucky to set up in their 1-2-1-1 pressure.
Joe Toy. Now it's Chateau working on Richards. P.J. Washington sets a little high screen. They try to lob it into Richards. Off the mark. It'll belong to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Kentucky slowly but surely, the young guards figuring it out. You see the screen by P.J. Washington. Again, that allows for the overload that Ashton Hagans gets into the teeth of the defense and goes up top to Nick Richards. So there's multiple ways you can beat a zone. You can throw it over the top, which is what Ashton Hagans tried to do last time, just miscommunication with Nick Richards, or you can try to screen the zone, or you can penetrate the zone, and then ultimately you want to try to offensive rebound against the zone, which is what Kentucky is outstanding at doing.
16-7 score. Vandy's hit 3 threes to get this one started. The offensive foul.
That's where they missed Darius Garland. So Coach Bryce Drew, he ran a play. Kentucky actually did an outstanding job of defending. Great help that time by Nick Richards. And then again, when the shot clock usually gets under 10 seconds, you could go to Darius Garland. He used the ball screens like Chris Paul. He was so good at making everyone else better. And so for Vanderbilt fans, you just don't lose a first-round draft pick. You lose a guy who made everyone else better. That's what Coach Bryce Drew's dealing with.
Washington. That one's knocked out of his hands by Moyer, and it'll belong to Kentucky with 13 on the shot clock. Well, Darius Garland, you know, for this Vanderbilt team, they've had to readjust. I mean, everything kind of ran through him. You lose him in game number 5, and you have to reinvent your team. This guy was one of the premier players in this conference as a true freshman. Quickly, who just checked in, knocks home a 3.
There's another premier freshman. Since Quade Green has left the team, both he and Ashton Hagans have actually been playing better. And it's because they know they have more minutes coming right now. That's for every player. Knowing when you get in, what your role is, that's the big change right now for those two guys.
That 3 is knocked down by Matthew Moyer, a 33% shooter from behind the arc.
Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year out of South Kent Prep. The transfer from Syracuse played with a lot of toughness and swagger. That's just Keldon Johnson.
Johnson leads the team with 15.6 points per game, shooting 50% from the field. Approaching 12 minutes to go in the opening half. Evans back to Wetzel. Little scoop shot won't go. Rebound into the hands of E.J. Montgomery. They'll kick it in the corner to Johnson. Too strong. Knocked out of bounds. It'll belong to Kentucky. Now when we come back, Damian Fishback will talk to us about the lost art of the entry pass. No, we haven't, Fish. Nobody does it better. The assist, I love it. Talk to me, though, about where we are in the game with that entry pass.
Well, I want to talk about that turnaround jump shot by Dave Neal. But seriously, so Kentucky, 350th youngest team. Vanderbilt, I think 305. Young people, because they play so much AAU ball, number one, which I think AAU is great for the game, but they're just used to getting up and down, and they want to be the next James Harden, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, do everything off of the bounce, that they don't realize how important it is to learn how to pass. And that's why a lot of times big guys will have someone on their back, and they don't get the basketball because the young players of the game right now don't focus enough on simply passing the basketball.
Kentucky struggling with this zone to get the game started. Cats with just 12 points here as we hit 11, close to 11 and a half minutes to go. That was in and out, but right back to Hero. He lost it. Neesmith will save it for Vanderbilt. Joe Toy, corner 3. That one will roll around.
Their best offense. So always always talk about how defense and offense are correlated. They're cohesive. They're one. The more Vanderbilt gets their shots, the less they'll miss Darius Garland because it's just players in the open floor getting baskets.
Moyer with the block on Richards.
So here's an example here. Nick Richards trying to take it inside, but a nice job of actually Moyer getting in and getting the block from behind. Your best opportunity to block a shot is getting it off of the basketball.
By the way, right before we went to that TV break, there was a foul on Saban Lee on the baseline. That was his second foul, so the starting point guard for Vanderbilt having to sit here in the first half.
Maxwell Evans has been doing okay. Frankly, I don't know if there's a true point guard outside of Darius Garland on this team.
Kentucky lost sight of the shot clock after the block shot by Moyer, and they turned it over.
They haven't figured that zone out yet. They've made some plays, they've made a couple of shots, but when you have young basketball teams, and particularly young backcourts, which is Hagan's, it's going to take him probably a half to figure this out.
Kentucky 1 of 5 from behind the arc. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt's 5 out of 6. Neesmith. Now to Toy. He'll pull up for 3. Too strong. Rebound into the hands of Ashton Higgins.
Nice extra pass.
And a traveling violation by Keldon Johnson. The Missouri at South Carolina game, which was slated for today because of some weather issues, Missouri couldn't get to South Carolina. That game has now been rescheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and the game will be available on SEC Network Plus and, of course, the SEC Network alternate channel where that is available. And the game will re-air at 7 o'clock Eastern time right here on the SEC Network. So Missouri and South Carolina, some travel issues for the Tigers. They'll get after it tomorrow at 1 o'clock over in Columbia,
Two
South
coaches,
Carolina.
Dave, that believe in old school basketball where toughness is a non-negotiable. It'll be a backyard brawl between those two teams.
Shatu had it stripped right out of his hands by P.J. Washington. Up ahead to Johnson.
He's really good. You can see why he's a lottery pick. That wasn't as easy as it looked. That was in traffic. He avoided the charge and then still had the touch to elevate over.
Take away by Higgins in the open floor.
Had a record 8 steals against North Carolina in their victory. And listen to this crowd.
Shatu. He is now 0 for 11 on three-point attempts this year. Baker can't get it to go. Tapped around. Washington gets it to Johnson. Up and under to Travis. Swatted out of there by Neesmith. Shatu flying. Neesmith for 3. Loose ball. Taken by Toy.
Nice decision by the lone senior and Joe Toy.
Neesmith, crossover dribble. They're going to say clean block. Bryce Drew, arms up in the air, can't believe it.
Well, Big Blue Nation is making a lot of plays here tonight. They're the 6th man, but give credit to P.J. Washington. He doesn't always have to score the most points, but he always makes his presence felt, whether it's distributing the basketball like he did in the North Carolina game, whether it's blocking shots, getting offensive rebounds, or scoring. And you see Kentucky now with 5 offensive rebounds that's led to 5 second-chance points.
Vanderbilt's led by as many as a dozen here in the first half. Kentucky's cut it to 6. Neesmith taking a much-needed break, and Saban Lee back on the floor. Lee with those 2 fouls. Shot clock down to 2. He just does get it off, and Hero with the rebound. Quickly for 3.
Got to get a timeout.
Vandy takes the timeout. Kentucky within 3.
Well, when you guard, you don't have to worry about a zone defense. Emmanuel quickly out in the open break. Nothing but the tray bomb.
Working that Kentucky huddle as the Cats have cut it to 3. Coach Cal kind enough to wear a microphone. Let's listen into some of his comments on SEC Wired.
We missed 2 easy shots. They've made every play. Just keep playing. You tipped that one, and then the second one you went with one hand. Go grab it. Just reach and grab. Guys are doing fine. I mean, just the start of the game, man. I got to figure out what I'm doing and what we're doing.
That's been talked about around here, this team getting off to slow starts. What do you make of that? Does it start to get in your head if you're a player?
Well, getting in your head is a nice phrase that you use. Coach Cal is such a good motivator, but I think he's a psychologist too. This team, Dave, he is kind of pumped up more than his other teams in the past, right? That started off so good, that maybe had better older players surrounding them. On this particular team, he hadn't got on them quite as hard. He's actually trying to elevate their confidence, staying behind them. I think it's critical because this team at times during the year has been vulnerable after that Duke loss, right? They lost to Alabama. He's picking and choosing when to pick the guys up and when to be hard on them.
7:35 to go here in the first half. Saban Lee off to Joe Toy. Chateau trying to post up, and Lee will take the shot. Chateau working hard with the rebound and lost the handle on the way up. It'll belong to Vanderbilt. 28 seconds on that shot clock.
Dave, this is a prime example right there. The dribble was live, so he really didn't have a chance to get in there and make that pass. If you're Saban Lee, either you use your dribble to go by Reed Travis because you're quicker, or you get the pass into that mismatch. But the dribble was already dead. He had put the bounce on the floor, and so his only alternative was to shoot it.
Here's Maxwell Evans. Shot clock dipped under 10 seconds. Chateau cuts to the basket, fouled and counted. Boy, he is some kind of athlete.
Well, that particular play, that was on Ashton Hagans, right? Ashton Hagans is on the weak side there. He has to be over helping Reed Travis, but instead he was hugging his man on the wing, which is what allowed Simisola Chateau to be open.
Hagans picks up his first foul as Chateau steps to the free throw line, a 67% foul shooter, and misses that one off the back of the rim. Hagans gets to the logo and threw it away. Reed Travis says he wants it up high. But a turnover by Kentucky.
Well, there it is again. Listen, I'm telling you, you see it across college basketball. And the reason is because at the NBA level, there's so many scoring point guards now. James Harden, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook. So many guys, Kyrie Irving, just put it on the floor and they dribble by you. On the collegiate level, I feel sorry for big guys sometimes because they get the player on their back and the guards just haven't been able to get it to him.
Chateau will set a screen for Evans. They got the switch, and Evans threw it away.
So Dave, on that particular play, Evans got the switch, and a lot of times with young players, you want to go at that switch so early. Be patient, relax. You still got ample amount of time on the shot clock. Take your time, allow the defense to break down, and you may not be the one that scores. You may create something for someone else.
Hagans gets it down low to Washington. He is fouled And free throws coming up for Kentucky. That's the first on Simisola Shatu.
Well, and for Kentucky, anytime they make the decision, they can dominate this game inside. Simisola Shatu is their one true big, if you will, and he's still a mobile 6'10". I think P.J. Washington, Reed Travis, even Nick Richards, they can get as much as they want, as often as they want inside that paint area.
Washington misses the front end. Don't forget, Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, we'll have the Florida Gators taking on 14th-ranked Mississippi State from the hump in Starkville. Mississippi State trying to snap that 8-game skid against the Florida Gators. Two teams that'll certainly be eager to get back on the hardwood after both teams go down in defeat on this Saturday in Southeastern Conference competition. It is going to be a wild ride.
Well,
through conference play.
And Dave, candidly, for your AP voters, people are going to be questioning Mississippi State. Ole Miss should have been in the top 25 a long time ago. Coach Kermit Davis, well over 400-plus wins, what he did at Middle Tennessee. You had to know what he was going to do at Ole Miss.
Reed Travis went down, tried to call timeout, but he was laying on that sideline, so it'll be Vanderbilt basketball.
I love the hustle going after the basketball. I don't think he can get that. I applaud Coach Cal for trying to say that they should have, but I don't think he got it. He was still sliding as he was trying to call the timeout, and candidly really didn't have the possession of the basketball.
So 15 on the shot clock. They'll throw it to Saban Lee. It's a foot race with Higgins.
This is where they truly miss Garland.
Saban Lee right to the basket, high off the window. Lee late getting back, so it was 5-on-4 for a moment, but now Vanderbilt can set up in their zone. Have they had a possession of man tonight? I don't know.
Well, they're having to run man when Kentucky stops them on the defensive end, but Kentucky's starting to figure it out. The talent is simply rising to the top.
Johnson knocks that one home. Keldon with 8 here in the first half.
Coach Cal said something when he talked about when you're getting stops defensively, it gives you confidence on the offensive end. We're seeing some of that this evening.
Boy, a huge screen by Simisola Shatu. They didn't call the first one. They got Cal upset, and they call a second one on the second screen.
Well, and give credit to Keldon Johnson for battling down there. And that is a huge foul on Simisola Shatu. We talked about the lack of depth that they have as far as big guys. This team was made to get up and down, play at a high tempo and a high-paced game.
Hero, deep 3 off the back of the rim, and Kentucky will reset. Alley-oop to Washington, can't handle it. Goes back and lays it in.
Yeah, all day.
Two-point game. Remember, the Cats trailed by a dozen here in the first half. Joe Toy in traffic. And Toy got hit right on top of the head. A whistle will stop play, and free throws coming up.
So this is good penetration. Fans don't like the call, but you get the call because of your aggressiveness by Joe Toy. I think you do have to blow. You have to make some call there. Too much contact. But give credit to these 22, 23,000, however many it is. It makes such a difference for young players. And this is not just at Kentucky, but all across the Southeastern Conference. These fans make a difference.
Joe Toy knocks down the front end. By the way, second foul on Keldon Johnson. So Richards, Washington, Hero, Quigley, and Ashton Higgins, the 5 on the floor for Kentucky.
I like how Ashton Hagans, he pushes it every time. You don't have to force it, but as a point guard, see if you've got something. If you don't, set it up.
Shatu reaches in. That ball's kicked. It'll belong to Vanderbilt. But Shatu with those 2 fouls. Risky play with the reach on the defensive end, and Bryce Drew will sub out for Simisola.
Well, that last play was an example of where he should have improved his angle to make that pass. And right now, turnovers are both teams being turnover plagued the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Almost another turnover by Vanderbilt. Instead, it'll be a 3 from Moyer, and he can't get it to go. Loose ball on the baseline. It's a scrap. They're going to give it to Kentucky. Crowd thought there was some contact, and it is a scrappy night here in Rupp Arena. Teams getting after it.
I love it. Is it March already? Are you kidding me? Who wants it more? They say it just means more. This is the SEC. We're going to see who it means more.
3-point Vanderbilt lead here as we get closer to halftime. I think Twan might get a little more nervous.
Oh, he doesn't get turned up until the second half. He's usually quiet in the studio, and then around that 8 to 10 minute mark in the second half, that's when he kind of hits the desk in the studio. Big Blue Nation, Antoine Walker is in love with Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky breaking down their season 11-3. They lose their conference opener to Alabama, respond with a win against A&M here during their midweek game. Of course, big win over North Carolina. Tough loss to Duke to get things started. That can't be good for your confidence.
Well, it was the best thing to ever happen to this Kentucky team. I think they were on a high in the Bahamas. They were much too high. Even Coach Cal said he was a little complacent or maybe comfortable a little bit. He was concerned that the team was going to peak too early. But once they had that loss, reality set in. They went back to work. And then they had a nice stretch of where they won 7, 8 in a row. But people said, well, these teams aren't that good. Then they have the buzzer beater lose at Seton Hall. Then you beat North Carolina and Louisville, so they think everything's fine again. Then you lose at Alabama. It is a process, and I think Big Blue Nation will learn to understand that under Coach Cal.
Quickly, work at the perimeter. Hagans. Euro step.
That was beautiful. I mean, that was a little dance by Ashton Hagans. I love his basketball game, and he's got a nice size, too, about himself.
So Toy will get it off to Neesmith. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. So Toy got to the logo and had nowhere to go and almost threw it away. 6 on the shot clock.
Well, here's Ashton Hagans on the quick reverse there. Look how quick, and he just avoids the traffic. Outstanding job of really keeping his balance. That wasn't a walk. That was good balance and body control by him against Wetzel.
Zabin Lee. Shot clock violation.
Struggling.
Kentucky has a chance to take the lead on this possession.
Well, let me be frank, right? This score is 27-26. One of the reasons is because of the slow start. Coach Andy Kennedy talked about the fight. Antoine Walker talked about the zone. And so now that Kentucky's figured it out, Vanderbilt's going to have to make some adjustments. Offensively, they have got to continue to put the basketball in the rim.
Hagans off to Quickly. Hero. Hagans back to Quickly. That won't go. Rebound to Moyer.
Like the chess move, though. Ashton Hagans in the middle so he can create for himself and others.
Evans. Well, they're trying to get it to Toy, who's working on Hero. Now it's Wetzel.
Seconds. Then you got shot clock.
Moyer. Some contact down in the paint. Some free throws coming up for Matthew Moyer, the transfer from Syracuse. That'll go on P.J. Washington. It'll be his second.
Matthew Moyer at 6'8", 217 pounds, is part of the positionless basketball that Vanderbilt's really going to have to play. Now, again, that was built all around Darius Garland because of the way he can penetrate and get himself open.
He misfires on the opening free throw. Hey, Thursday we'll have our next women's college hoops doubleheader that begins at 7 o'clock Eastern as Missouri will host Georgia. And then it's number 13 Tennessee and Alabama from Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa. Both games right here on the network and, of course, on the ESPN app.
Tennessee and Alabama, always a heated rival. Sophie Cunningham of Missouri shoots the cover off of the basketball. Two outstanding matchups.
Hero, and we are tied at 28. The Kentucky Wildcats have rallied from 12 down. There's the switch. Neesmith now being defended by Reed Travis. High off the window. Big time move by the freshman.
So Vanderbilt now, they're just going to try to go at Reed Travis every single time if it's any of their four guards that they feel like has the better foot speed to get by him.
Boy, Hero's been quiet tonight. Just 2 points. And now Vanderbilt with under a minute to go. Last touch by Toy. It'll belong to Kentucky.
So plenty of time here. If Kentucky wanted to, they could go 2 for 1, get something pretty quick here. We'll see if they try to do that with 50 seconds left to go in this basketball game. Going to be a little bit harder to do against the zone. Let's see if they try to get E.J. Montgomery or Ashton Hagans at that SEC logo in the center of the zone.
Nobody there. Hero tries to save it. Can't do it. It'll belong to Vanderbilt.
And again, we remember that change where if you're jumping out of bounds, you can't call the timeout in the air now. I actually like that call, frankly. Got to play on. Try to see if you can throw it back in and save it.
So Matt Ryan will check in for Moyer. 1.6 seconds separating the shot clock and the game clock.
You're Vanderbilt, you're up 2, you're on the road, hostile environment. Use at least 20, 25 seconds of this shot clock. My guess is they're going to try to put Reed Travis in a ball screen to try to get a mismatch.
Shot clock goes under 10 seconds now.
See if Baker goes with him instead. They did. They switched it so Baker would be on it.
Evans lost the handle. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Pull up. Quickly, no good. The zone defense of Vanderbilt causing Kentucky some issues. It also sets up the Wildcats for their lowest scoring half this season. It is a 30-28 game. A quick start by Vanderbilt. They led it by a dozen. And they lead by 2 at the break. Time to get you to the studio. Here's Dari.
All right, guys, thank you.
Up Arena, Vanderbilt and Kentucky. And Commodores, who have lost 4 consecutive to the Cats, lead it by 2 at the break. Dave Neal alongside my partner Damian Fishback. And Fish really surprised at the low-scoring affair. Both these teams are averaging over 80 points a game, but here we sit at 30-28. What do you make of all that?
Well, I'm a little surprised, but not surprised, because in conference play, coaches know one another, matchups, so not surprised at what we saw. Coach Bryce Drew did a nice job of going with that zone defense. The only thing that turned this basketball around, this game around, was Kentucky's defense, right? They started getting steals, they started getting offensive rebounds, and once they did that, they started getting confidence. Look at Ashton Hagans that time. Hagans did a tremendous job of putting pressure on the basketball. They don't have Garland. And then Simi Sola-Shatu, another turnover. What did that turnover lead to? It led to 10 points out of Kentucky. So you had 10 points off of the turnovers for Vanderbilt. They just went at Reed Travis, frankly. They said, we've got 4 or 5 guys who can use you off the mismatch. Here's Toy. Look, you can't go by me. You can't go in front of me. So he just shoots over the top. Give credit for Coach Bryce Drew going up the mismatches. I look for Kentucky, though, to continue to press forward, in particularly on the offensive glass in the second half, as well as getting to the free throw line.
10 points off those 7 Vanderbilt turnovers. And Kentucky's one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Matter of fact, they're 7th in rebound margin. They're +9 in that department, and they've dominated the glass in the first half. They just haven't got a whole bunch of shots up.
Sure. Well, I think that Kentucky, in most of their games, will be able to win the offensive glass, and they should get to the free throw line. However, the zone of Vanderbilt has kept them from getting to the free throw line.
Landis Poole had a Kentucky player go out of bounds and then was the first man to touch the basketball when he popped back in bounds, which is a violation. Boy, don't see that very often.
No, you don't, but we have a very good crew on hand. I think they've done an outstanding job this evening.
Here's Ryan off to Neesmith. Vanderbilt started 5 of 6 from behind the arc. They finished 5 of 11. Ryan back to Neesmith. He lets that one go, and that's off the front of the rim. Rebound to Hero. And Johnson strong to the basket. Neesmith met him at the iron, but a foul against the Vanderbilt Commodore.
Well, and see, watch out of bounds right here. And see, Tyler Hero actually steps out of bounds. And then once he comes back in the basketball, the official saying he cannot be the first one to touch the basketball. Correct call that time. And again, officiating crew right there on it.
Tied at 30. Vanderbilt has never trailed in this game. Their largest lead was 12 at 16-4. Saban Lee, they get the switch, and now he's working on Reed Travis. Kicks it out, Neesmith. Misses again, back-to-back wide-open threes for Neesmith. Kentucky has it, here's Hero. Corner 3 from Johnson is good. Keldon Johnson gives Kentucky their first lead of the night.
Their best offense, offensive transition.
Saban Lee in traffic. Hagens in the open floor, all the way to the rim, got it to go. Timeout, Vanderbilt. UFC now on ESPN. Kentucky looking for a knockout punch here in the second half.
Yeah, well, they're doing it all in transition. That's why I always talk about the fact that your offense and defense are connected. There's a stop, and now what do you have? You've got Vanderbilt trying to match up, but they can't do it. Ashton Hagens is a 6'3", 192-pound guard. That's a big, physical, strong guard that can use his body to get to the rim. That's why Coach Cal has continued to pump his guys up. He says, we don't have a John Wall, okay? We may not have a De'Aaron Fox, but between the shooting of Emmanuel Quickly and between the penetrating ability and defensive mechanisms that Ashton Hagens brings to the game, we've got guys that are good enough collectively to get back to the Final Four.
Hagens has started the last 6 games. Matter of fact, the last 3, he has set career highs in points. And he is leading the charge tonight here inside Rupp Arena as the Cats are on a 7-0 run to start the second half.
Well, for Vanderbilt right now, you've got to continue to go at the mismatch, but I think you also have to get to the free throw line. Attack the rim, use your body, and try to get Kentucky to foul a little bit.
So Toy. On Keldon Johnson, up and under, got some contact and counted.
There it is. And so, especially when you have young teams, right, they don't like to guard for a long time. So shot fakes, they usually go up for shot fakes. Young players that were in high school just last year, They don't want to play defense every single trip. And so the lone senior for Vanderbilt goes inside, gets in the paint, gets young Keldon Johnson up. And then what else does this do? Takes the crowd out of it a little bit, because Big Blue Nation has truly been the sixth man tonight.
And Vandy can go set up their defense if he can make this free throw, which he can't, but Shatu is there to keep it alive. He spins, gives it to Ryan, corner three, no good. That was the third foul on Keldon Johnson, so now he sits on that Kentucky bench.
And there's Jamal Baker, who I said I thought would get more minutes. He has a nice poise and a nice jump shot.
No good from Hagens. Long rebound to Eastman.
He's got to take that. He can shoot it, and the more he gets open and the more shots that he makes, obviously he'll get confidence. But teams are going to leave him open until he proves that he can knock down perimeter jump shots.
And now just 1 of 12 from behind the arc on the year. Joe Toy gets it to Ryan. Little two-man game. Toy, step back three. Air ball.
I don't like that. Even if he made it, you had a wide open lane to get to the rim. Keep going to the basket when you're struggling, in particularly on the road.
Travis battling Shatu, and he wins that battle underneath.
So much credit goes to that young man.
Clock issue. They'll stop it for a moment. Be sure and download the ESPN app or visit ESPNplus.com to find out how you can get more sports with ESPN Plus. Of course, there's a ton of stuff on the Watch ESPN app, but a ton more on ESPN Plus. As we find out, there is basketball, and more basketball this time of the year.
That's right, and now's the time to get it. You don't want to miss anything. You see Texas A&M, a last-second shot today. You saw Louisville dominate North Carolina, worst loss in the history of Roy Williams. Outstanding games all day long.
Saban Lee. Shot clock down to 1 as Ryan got the shot off. Now Hagens back the other way.
Nice decision that time by Jamal Baker.
Shot clock down to 7. Baker, no good. Joe Toy with the basketball.
Another good look. I don't mind that look for Baker. He's got to keep taking that shot. Give credit to Vanderbilt, though. They're doing an outstanding job in this second half of keeping Kentucky off of the glass.
Saban Lee, blocked by Hero, but a foul. That'll get Saban Lee to the free throw line. A timeout on the floor. Hero picks up the foul. Back to the rough in a moment. Kentucky's lead is 5. Coach Cal wearing a mic. Let's listen in to the coach of the Wildcats in another edition of SEC Wired.
Okay, you went off and tentative. You can't be that. I need you in the game because of how you shoot. This, no! This, out, yeah! Don't foul! Go! You! That way!
Well, we know he can coach, and now we know he can also referee if need be.
Can we get some enthusiasm on the sideline, Coach Cal? Are you kidding me? People talked about, well, he actually talked about 10 years. He is just as animated, just as enthusiastic, loves Kentucky more than ever. And is truly the dean of the SEC now. What I like about Coach Cal is he said something. He said he wants to see what players can bring to the table outside of scoring. And so you look at a guy like Tyler Hero, what he did at Louisville's game, being the MVP. Once he stopped worrying about the jump shot and scoring and concentrated on defense, he continued to improve his basketball game. And you're seeing that now with Kentucky as a unit.
Saban Lee at the free throw line. Cuts it to 4. Saban Lee. Tough night offensively. Just 3 points in 18 minutes. They've had to move him to the point with the injury to Darius Garland. And Saban Lee didn't play a whole lot of point a year ago either. Ryler Chance was their main point guard. Matter of fact, Vanderbilt lost 3 1,000-point scores from a season ago. Tyler Hero, shot clock at 5. Higgins all the way to the basket.
Good poise, good patience being showed that time. And right now, if you're the Commodores, you continue to run your offensive sets. When Kentucky set defensively, they've either went at Reed Travis or they've tried to run a set and been patient and poised on this end.
So 2 trying to post up. Saban Lee will kick it back to Moyer, who knocks home the 3.
Well, he's been critical, right? At 6'8", 217 pounds, you know, we got to remember he redshirted in 2016-17, and the transfer from Syracuse brings some experience and actually brings some toughness that I think this Commodore team needed.
Shot clock goes under 10 again. And a foul as Quickly takes it to the basket, and he'll have some free throws coming up. Quickly on the year at 83% foul shooter. That'll be the first foul on Aaron Nesmith. Bryce Drew, boy, what a job he's done tonight just to kind of get this team lost their first 2 conference games. And we talked a little bit about the transition this team's going through because they're trying to reinvent themselves here in the middle of the season without Darius Garland at the point.
Well, listen, first of all, an amazing family in Coach Bryce Drew. And you see Darius Garland right there on warm-ups. I'm sure Commodore fans would do anything to get him back in the jersey. But his basketball mind, you can tell that he comes from a family of basketball. Even what he's doing today, you know, he's making sure they don't foul Kentucky. He's making sure that Kentucky has to beat them from the outside and also keeping them on the offensive glass. The only chance that the Commodores had, he's done every single thing right, and that's why they're only down 3 in a hostile environment here at Rupp Arena.
Saban Lee with 15 on the shot clock. Working on Nick Richards as they got that mismatch. And old Nick's not going to be able to slow down Saban Lee 20 feet from the basket.
Dave Neal, if there is any play in the game of basketball that young players need to learn how to guard, it's the ball screen. You look at the NBA level, the collegiate level, everything's going to the ball screen. You have to be mobile. For guards, you got to get through the screens. For bigs, you got to be able to help and recover. That's what Vanderbilt's doing tonight.
Nesmith will get it down to Shatu. Spins on Richards, reverse layup, no good. Nesmith there, looking for Moyer, cutting to the basket, and that's a shot clock violation.
Solid defense by Kentucky. Good hustle, good battle. Getting on the floor after the loose basketball. Kentucky's defense has improved astronomically since that Duke game. And this is about the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen Nick Richards get on the floor, and the crowd is complaining because they feel like Matthew Moyer hit him in the head, and he did. I don't think intention was there. I think he was going after the basketball, but it's definitely an elbow to the face of Nick Richards. Tough blow.
Well, he definitely got him. You know, they didn't call a foul on that.
Well, and that's where a lot of the fouls are actually missed, is when they're going after loose balls, because it's so difficult to see. I mean, the officials aren't at floor level, but they'll see it when they look at the monitor for sure.
Was it excessive? Steve Anderson, Alandis Poole.
Well,
we have the collaborative replay system in effect here for conference games. So Terry Moore back in Birmingham. He's consulting Steve Anderson over there, who will have the ultimate say in this, but it is a collaborative effort in terms of every time we go to the replay monitor.
Well, listen, we talked about UFC. It wasn't a John Jones elbow to the face, but it was pretty hard, right? Nick Richards took a big-time lick, and this officiating crew will certainly get it right. As you mentioned, Orlando Poole, Garrett Shannon, and Steve Anderson, outstanding crew on hand today.
Well, it looks like Nick Richards is okay. A sophomore out of Kingston, Jamaica, averaging just over 3 points and 3 rebounds per contest. Only been in double figures one game this year with 10 points. That game against Winthrop. And he took a swipe right across the bridge of the nose. So now we'll get another set of eyeballs on it over there at the replay monitor.
Listen, they're going to, I think they have to call a flagrant one. In my opinion, the elbow went above the shoulder. It was certainly excessive. He didn't intend to do it.
Here's my thing, though, Fish, is that we see this a lot on scrums on the floor, guys diving for balls. So it's sometimes, I think because they're on the floor, I think sometimes things are a little different than if you're standing upright going for a rebound.
Sure. And give credit to the officials for going back and making sure that they get it right.
Incidental contact.
So it'll be referred to as incidental contact. Nothing happening there. And that's, you know, I agree with you. There was contact. You know, it's hard to deny that. But I just think that sometimes when guys are diving for loose balls, that's going to happen. We've seen it a couple times here tonight.
Well, agreed. As officials, you always want to make sure that you protect the players. And I agree with the call. It was incidental contact, but what you are concerned about is now players feel like they can get away with a little more going after loose balls.
Well, Higgins had a look at it, but he'll pass it up and give it to Quickly, who was inside the arc, and he buries that from 17 feet.
Manuel Quickly playing some of his best basketball, shooting it with confidence, playing his role. He is, to me, more of a shooting guard, but he's certainly a scoring point guard that has the ability to put it on the floor.
Yeah, 9 points now for Quickly. Higgins pokes it away, takes it. Higgins now with his 4th straight game in double figures. Timeout, Vanderbilt. He had 11 against Louisville, 12 against Bama, 18 against A&M, and 11 tonight.
Ashton Higgins, like a thief in the night, and tonight he has been relentless. Good defense, turn it into offense for Higgins.
Alongside Damian Fishback, and Fish, always amazing to come in here for 20-something years doing basketball. The elevator's open over at the Hyatt. It's a sea of blue. It still blows my mind away, the passion for Kentucky basketball, which leads us to tonight's Fishback.
Yeah, no opinions here, simply facts. And the fact is that Kentucky is still the biggest show in town. The reason, what they've done. Fact, right? They've done that year in and year out, and in particular in the SEC. When it comes to the SEC, you look at what they've done, right? And you look at how Coach Avery Johnson and Alabama celebrated after beating Kentucky. They had lost the last 10 times. And so for Kentucky fans and this young Kentucky team, they have to realize they are still the biggest show in town, and the reputation precedes them.
Yeah, you look at those numbers, just unbelievable when you add it all up. 48 regular season conference titles, 31 tournament titles. But we show you that Alabama video to stress a point that every night somebody's coming after Kentucky because of the letters across their jersey, and he wanted his players to understand that wasn't. They were celebrating like they were getting a trip to the Final Four.
Sure.
That was game number 1 of the SEC slate, and that's what Coach Cal was telling his guys right after that game. Take a look, folks. This is how it's going to be for the next 16, 17 games.
And that's why Coach Cal actually showed his team to help them to realize what the brand, the name on their jersey meant when other teams. And candidly, I like that by Coach Avery Johnson because he's just showing his players that he's part of the team, right? He's one of those cool coaches. But at the end of the day, Kentucky has to know that they are the biggest game on everyone's schedule, even with the SEC continuing to rise and being much more than just Kentucky.
Kentucky had also knocked off Alabama 10 straight times, so there was a little extra celebration to stop the streak. Another collision underneath. Neesmith. Boy, hit the deck hard. That foul on Hero will be his second.
And I have been here as a player before. Legs underneath, and he comes down on that left elbow. Not a shooting elbow, good for him, but shows a lot of toughness and bounces back up. Aaron Neesmith, the 6'6", 213-pound freshman out of Charleston, South Carolina, took a tough fall.
Making his second start of his young season. Started against Georgia in their last outing. Here's Simi Sola, Shatu. Ryan, catch, shoot, too strong. Boy, he hit his first couple of threes and been quiet ever since. Up to Richards. He can't handle the pass. They're going to give it to Vanderbilt. Hey, coming up next, the SEC Now team will be back right after our game with all the hardwood highlights, and there are plenty of them from today. They'll break down all the games and have some post-game interviews for you as well. No one covers the SEC like we do. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app.
Yeah, a lot of great stories today. Texas A&M able to secure that win. Auburn actually responding after the loss at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss proving to the country that they should be a top 25 team, as well as Tennessee clicking on all cylinders.
Shatu gets his own miss and puts it back.
He's got to be the guy. Listen, he's a freshman and probably not anticipating to do as much as he's having to do without Darius Garland. But now that he's in the position that he's in, he has to truly carry this team.
Shatu with 8 points now for Vanderbilt. And foul. Boy, Nick Richards not real happy about the way things are going underneath for him as Evans picks up the first foul. Nice round of applause for Nick Richards as he is subbed out with 10:50 to go in the game. Travis been quiet. 4 points tonight. 2 of 5 from the field. Shot clock down to 5. Trying to get Travis underneath. It'll belong to Kentucky with 4 on the shot clock.
Once again, Higgins that time needed to improve his angle for the pass. Tried to force it up top. Should have dribbled over to the right a little bit, but with 4 seconds left, look for Travis to go straight to the rim.
There he goes. Lowered his shoulder, offensive foul. We saw that coming from 50 feet away.
Well, and for Reed Travis, he's still learning how to fit into the chemistry of this basketball team. Now, can you imagine, right? Reed Travis, you transfer, projected all Pac-12, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, and now he's got a bunch of young guards, right, that he's having to deal with. I'm sure it gets frustrating to him at times, but he has had a tremendous attitude.
Shatu spins, kicks it out.
Whoa.
Toy. Neesmith, deep 3, no good, and Shatu hits the deck. And a foul against Kentucky underneath.
Take a look at Simi Sola, Shatu. Now, obviously, tries to box out P.J. Washington, and if you're P.J. Washington, remember, he's still young. You can't just throw him down on the floor. You have to battle.
Third foul on P.J.
Coach Cal mentioned today, you get a 5-second call. Nice job defensively by Kentucky. Coach Cal mentioned today, he said he actually talked to his players, and he said, you know, who's doing what I'm asking for them to do? And all the players said, Ashton Higgins is doing it. And he asked each individual player, what he expected of them. And he said they actually knew what he was wanting them to do, but they weren't doing it.
Maxwell Evans. That's an offensive foul. That's the second on Evans.
Well, this is Evans right now. And again, you know, I mentioned it earlier. I said Vanderbilt, I'm not sure if they have a true point guard. And so much was put into Darius Garland. So look at Coach Bryce Drew. He's continuing to motivate his guys, trying to teach them, right? They're learning on the job. But you can tell night in and night out, they're just going to have to continue to learn how to play without Garland.
Yeah, we talked to Garland before the game today and asked him how it's going. He says, basically, I'm just rehabbing, trying to build my quad. Of course, he had that knee surgery, and he said he expects sometime middle of the summer that he could get back on the court and do some of the things that he wanted to be doing right now. Travis kept it alive. Washington lost it right into Chatu's hands. Good catch by Ryan. Chatu off to Toy. Catch and shoot. No good. Vanderbilt is now 6 of 19 from behind the arc. Remember, they started 5 for 6. Travis is fouled, working hard, and he will be rewarded with a couple of free throws. Hey, the Missouri at South Carolina game that was scheduled for today, but the Tigers couldn't get out of Columbia, Missouri. So the game's been rescheduled for 1 o'clock tomorrow, and you can catch it available on SEC Network Plus and the SEC Network alternate channel where that is available. The game will re-air tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern, right here on the SEC Network. So those two teams will get after it tomorrow. South Carolina trying to stay unbeaten in league play. LSU goes to 2-0 in league play.
LSU is, I think, a sleeper in this league. Everybody backed off of LSU when they took a tough loss after being up for the majority of the game versus Florida State, and then they took another loss to Oklahoma State. I didn't know if they were over that game, kind of hung over from that loss of Florida State. LSU is as talented as anyone in the country, not just in the league. From top to bottom, a very talented team. Coach Will Wade doing an outstanding job.
How about that matchup on Tuesday night over in Oxford? LSU and Ole Miss getting after it.
Woo.
Two undefeated teams in league play. Here's Wetzel off to Saban Lee. Shot clock at 5. Saban, step back. He got it. Saban Lee, just his 6th three-pointer of the season. He was a 20% shooter coming into tonight. Back to a three-point game. Washington can't handle the pass. It'll be Vanderbilt basketball.
I don't know if anyone in this arena could have handled that pass. Again, still learning that time. It's just a freshman mistake. People forget a lot of times that Kentucky still has freshmen, right? Because you see so many guys go one and done. You got $2 billion worth of NBA contractual money. But these guys are still learning. But give credit to Vanderbilt. They're putting in positions to where they have to think the game.
So Toy. Shot clock again into single digits. Lee has it blocked by Travis. Hagan's in the open floor, chased by Evans. He'll lay it up and in.
How much offense tonight comes from the turnovers of Vanderbilt? Where would Vanderbilt be right now? Would they be down 5 if they were simply taking care of the basketball a little bit better? Kentucky continuing to improve defensively. For the Commodores, you have to take care of this basketball, and you can sneak a victory here on the road.
Vanderbilt just 1 for their last 14 from behind the arc. Chatu, a lot of contact, no whistle, and that'll be a shot clock violation. That'll get us to a timeout. Kentucky playing some pretty good defense. They lead by 5.
Yeah, it's connected. You see the block here, and Ashton Hagan's getting out on the break. This is too easy. I'm loving this.
Kentucky trailed by as many as 12 in the first half, but they now lead by 5 as we take a look at our defensive spotlight brought to you by Shelter Insurance.
Yeah, the 6'3", 192-pound guard has truly been committing armed robbery. He's been armed defensively on all accounts. If you have the basketball around him, you better protect it at all times. No matter who it is, he has taken it, and those defensive steals have always led into transition on the offensive end. Won a Little League football state championship as a kid, cousin to former NFL player Ronnie Brown. And you can see that big, physical, tough body has allowed him to be aggressive defensively, and it's been production that's been successful for the Wildcats.
Second in the conference in steals. He's been averaging 4.5 over his last 5 games. Tonight he has 3 steals and has really taken advantage of some lazy passes. You don't need to give him any extra help.
Well, listen, I think he's a pillar of this basketball team this year, because this team, as they continue to try to learn to score in half court, needs to score off a transition. All of your quality teams do that. How good is Duke in transition? That was the key to Kentucky losing versus Duke, were the turnovers that allowed to get out in transition. Now Kentucky is getting better defensively, where they are able to do the same.
Keldon Johnson just checks in. Hagan's had tied him for team honors with 13 points, but Johnson said, no, young fella, I'm going to go ahead and give me a bucket right here. He now leads the team with 15.
As much as we've talked about defensively for Kentucky, Vanderbilt still within striking distance. So now, try to get back to the paint on the interior. Perfect.
Saban Lee took it right to Johnson, who comes down in pain. That'll be the 4th foul on Keldon Johnson.
Well, and for Keldon Johnson, looks like the knee of Saban Lee caught him where
you don't want to get caught.
Where you don't want to get caught. Couldn't have said it better myself, Dave Neal. You see Coach Kenny Payne with the smile on his face.
It's easy to smile when it wasn't you, right? So now we're going to go to the monitor. I'm not sure what we're going to review here.
Well, I think my guess is the officials are wanting to review how Saban Lee took off and what he did with that off leg. I think it was a simple basketball play that was going on.
Well, let's hope whatever they're looking at, they can make that a quick decision and get back to the game. Keldon Johnson with 15 points tonight. Hagan's has 13. They're the only 2 in double figures. Kentucky is shooting 50% from the floor. 20 out of 40. Vanderbilt at 38%. They're just going to call it a basketball play, which is what we kind of had diagnosed.
Right.
So free throws coming up for Saban Lee. Saban tonight at the free throw line, 3 out of 4. He came in at 73%. Hey, Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern, we'll have the Florida Gators and the 14th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs from the hump in Starkville. Mississippi State looks to snap that 8-game skid to the Gators. You can also catch this one on the ESPN app. So 1 out of 2 for Saban Lee. 6.5 to play.
For this young Vanderbilt team, 305th, I think, in the country as far as youth goes. They will continue to gain confidence the longer they hold on, even here on the road in a hostile environment.
Count to 3 for Emmanuel Quickly.
Most confident I've seen him all year.
Largest lead of the night for the Wildcats. Travis knocks it away. 7 on the shot clock. Boy, Vanderbilt just having some problems finding offense now. They've really gotten slowed down. Has Kentucky done something differently?
They really haven't. Vanderbilt's like playing football without a quarterback right now.
That would be tough. Tough shot by Moyer. A little fall-away 3 from 23 feet. Shot clock was winding down, but 5.5 to play now. Shot clock down to 4. Hagans in traffic. A little teardrop goes down, and he looks like he has hurt his back.
Hope he didn't tweak anything. Let's take a look and see when he hurts it. A beautiful floater over the top. Just lands awkwardly on the floor. And he is hitting the floor. Looks like he is in some pain. You hate to see that. As good as he's been playing with the confidence, you know he's a tough competitor. Just awkward. You can't tell. And he is getting helped off the floor.
Boy, Hagans, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals tonight. And he has brought a lot of the energy to Kentucky on both ends of the floor. A young man who bypassed his senior year of high school to enroll at Kentucky early. Georgia High School Gatorade Player of the Year, Mr. Basketball as a junior. Now it's Shatu working on Travis. Neesmith. That won't go. And now Vanderbilt is 7 out of 23 from behind the arc.
Yeah, good offense. They've just got to make shots. And right now they're not able to do that. So for Kentucky, you want to take advantage.
Travis turns, fires, no good. B.J. Washington fouled on the rebound. That'll be the 3rd on Matt Ryan. 6th team foul, so free throws on the next Vanderbilt foul.
4:29 in the second half, and Kentucky just now getting into the bonus. It shows you the job that Vanderbilt's done defending without fouling, which is one of the reasons why Kentucky's only got 54 points.
Offensive foul, moving screen on Reed. Travis. That'll be the 2nd on Travis. Boy, the rebounding numbers tell a lot about this game. 33 rebounds for Kentucky, 19 for Vanderbilt. Basically just one and done for the Commodores. Ryan. Rebound to Travis.
And you need Ryan to make those shots. A couple of NCAA tournaments at Notre Dame. He just hadn't quite found himself in that Vanderbilt uniform yet.
I'll say this, Vanderbilt has had some pretty clean looks at the basket here in the second half from behind the arc. They just haven't been able to make them. Quickly misses. Washington grabbed the rebound, and now Kentucky will push it back with 3.5 to go.
Young cats are growing up. Smart decision.
foul underneath. It's going to go against Chateau underneath, trying to defend Travis, but that'll get us to a timeout. 3:12 to play. Kentucky's lead is 11. Kentucky trying to close this one out. They lead by 11 with 3:12 to play here in Rupp Arena. Time to take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. And for that, we will center our attention on Vanderbilt's Bryce Drew, he and his staff had some long nights trying to figure out this team, and he is trying his best to coach this young bunch of players up.
Well, it does no good if you show frustration or don't maintain your positivity. Coach Bryce Drew's doing an outstanding job of that. He's staying upbeat. You saw him applauding his guys for the effort, and quite frankly, the game plan has been intact. I think they've done a solid job defensively as far as trying to contain Kentucky in the zone. They just haven't made enough shots that kept Kentucky off of the offensive glass, but it does not get any easier in the gauntlet. You mentioned South Carolina, undefeated thus far with an outstanding matchup versus Missouri tomorrow. You've got Mississippi State, who is going to be starving, ravenous for a victory. Tennessee, you only have to say their name there, clicking on all cylinders. And then you have to go against Christian and Coach Lon Kruger at Oklahoma, who's playing as good as anyone in the Big 12. And then they've got Kentucky again. So some sleepless nights that they've had and some sleepless nights yet to come.
Wow, that is some kind of schedule coming up for Vanderbilt. So P.J. Washington at the free throw line. P.J. 72% foul shooter on the year. That won't go, and Vanderbilt will grab the rebound, down 11.
For Vanderbilt, you got to keep the pressure on Kentucky. Give them a chance to crack. You need a basket.
Neesmith got that one to trickle through the cylinder.
Now the challenge is you've been playing zone all this time. Let's see if Coach Bryce Drew switches to man-to-man.
They reset the shot clock. Vanderbilt doesn't have a player in double figures at this point. A nice round of applause for Johnson as he checks back in for Emmanuel quickly. Johnson and Higgins both have 15 for the Cats. Chateau wins that battle and gives Vanderbilt a possession.
That's what we just said, right? Young teams at times have trouble finishing games. And so right now, if you're Vanderbilt, you want to continue to play. We've seen it. We saw Florida up 14-16 in the second half, and South Carolina come back and complete that game.
Well, Coach Cal just got a sideline warning. He was outside the coach's box by about a foot.
Needless to say, he hasn't been happy with some of the calls all day.
Chateau strong to the basket, throws it up. Was hoping to get fouled, no whistle, and Travis will get fouled. And Ryan, I think he just got a knee as well.
Well, and for obviously you mentioned Matt Ryan trying to catch his win, and Coach Cal taking that opportunity to continue to let this crew know that he'd like some changes being made.
Under 2 minutes to go. And a foul. Neesmith grabbing a hold of Tyler Hero. Tyler only 3 shots tonight. Hero came in averaging almost 14 a game. An 85% foul shooter on the year will toe the line for Kentucky. Thursday, we'll have our next women's college hoops doubleheader that starts at 7 o'clock Eastern with Missouri hosting Georgia. Then it's number 13 Tennessee and Alabama from Coleman Coliseum over in Tuscaloosa. Both games are right here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Commodores running out of time with 1:40 to play. Ryan, no good. Ryan now 1 out of 6 from behind the arc. And the rebound to Hero.
So tough for Vanderbilt. So for Matt Ryan, you don't get the same type of looks you would get when Darius Garland's in the game. You know, Simisola Shatu, I'm sure, is excited to come play for a guy like Darius Garland. They're going to figure it out. Coach Bryce Drew is an outstanding basketball coach, but Commodores faithful is going to have to be patient.
Offensive foul on Johnson. That'll be his 5th. Johnson will leave with 15 points. He had 6 of 8 from the floor. Did have 4 turnovers. Well, he and Hagans have 9 combined turnovers of Kentucky's 15. How will Coach Cal feel about his defensive effort tonight?
I think he has to be excited, but he has to be candid as well. This is a team that has been struggling of late because of lack of point guard players. You see Aaron Neesmith, who I think is an incredible recruit and a get for Coach Bryce Drew. But they played well defensively. This wasn't just Commodores struggling. This is an outstanding job as well defensively for Kentucky. It's another win, another SEC win, which is hard to come by.
Well, Kentucky will have a new season low for points. Their previous low was 71 against Southern Illinois. They also had 71 against Louisville. But they may not crack 60 here tonight. Neesmith picks up his 3rd foul. And, you know, you wonder what other teams will do. They've seen this Vanderbilt team play when they could set it up, play zone the entire night.
Right.
And you just wonder if we'll see more of that moving forward.
Oh, man, Kentucky's going to see zone a lot, right? And I think all coaches should have some zone in your back pocket, simply to change up the routine for players, right? Simply to get guys uncomfortable, make this young team from Kentucky think. I thought it was a nice job by Coach Bryce Drew tonight.
Travis with the rebound up ahead to Tyler Hero, who will just back it out. Crowd wanted him to take it in, but Tyler says we're just going to take the win and move on. Kentucky will win this one 56-47. They push their record to 12-3, exactly what it was a year ago at this time. And they go to 2-1 in league play. Vanderbilt will fall to 9-6 and 0-3. Hagans with 15, leading the charge along with Johnson. So the final, Kentucky wins it 56-47. We'll be back with more from Lexington in a minute. But first, let's get it to Dari Noken.